Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Wichita, the show where we're keeping you caught up, laughing a little, and getting your day started right here in the Air Capital. I'm Kayla G, and this week we're talking local events, what's trending online, and a few stories that definitely woke us up before the coffee kicked in. This week we've got this.
84% say that they've heard little or nothing about these services. So having this major awareness gap is really daunting. So it matters because 88% of caregivers who have received services, they have found it to be particularly helpful.
All that and more right here on a show we like to call Wake Up Wichita.
Do you ever wonder what happens when love, family, and small town drama all collide? That's the heart of My Life with the Walter Boys. After a whirlwind first season, the story is back with even more twists, tension, and second chances. Joining us are Nikki Rodriguez, Noah LaLonde, and Ashby Gentry, better known as Jackie, Cole, and Alex, to talk about season 2 and now streaming on Netflix. Welcome to the show, you three. How are you?
Thank you.
Doing
So
well.
good.
Thank you.
All right. Nikki, your character Jackie went through a lot this season. How does she approach coming back to Silver Falls after spending this summer in New York?
Yeah, I think, when she comes back to Silver Falls this time, I think she's ready to kind of face things head on a little bit. And I think she just wants to be like the perfect version of herself to kind of just make up for her past in a way. So I think that's her overall goal this season.
And Noah, Cole is stepping into a new role at school this season. What's it like to explore that side of him, and how does it affect his relationships?
Yeah, I think it was fascinating to step into that new side of him because I think it's a version of himself that's taking ownership over his life. After throughout season 1, there was a lot of directing blame on other people and kind of self-sabotaging. So I think, taking ownership of your path and allowing, that growth to happen and start to prepare to be who you want to be for other people in your life, your family, the people who you want to show up for. So that was it was a cool turn to take.
Ashby, and your character, Alex, seemed to have changed a lot since we last saw him. How did you prepare to show that growth, especially with his focus on rodeo training?
Well, I listened to a lot of cowboy podcasts and watched a lot of YouTube videos and walked through the park a lot. And the rest of it, you'll have to see on screen. Yeah.
The show is based on a beloved book, and it's taken a life of its own. What's been like interacting with fans and hearing from them and seeing how connected they are to your characters and the story?
I mean, it's been an absolute dream come true. I think you always hope that you're bringing the character, like you're doing justice in a way. And so it's just been really lovely, the response.
And is there anything that you are expecting or would hope that your audience will take from season 2?
Yeah, of course. I think I hope that they would take it. I hope that they would to take away some of the lessons that are to be yourself, to love hard and love your family, and just know that if tomorrow doesn't work out, the next day is always there.
All right, I want to thank you three for joining me this morning. Season 2 of My Life with the Walter Boys is streaming now on Netflix. Make sure you watch and catch all of the drama that's been unfolding in Silver Falls. Thank you three for joining me.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have you ever wondered how investigators actually track down predators hiding behind a screen? Online crimes against children are one of the fastest growing threats, and the work to stop them often happens quietly through digital clues, undercover conversations, and long investigations. A new investigative series gives viewers a rare look inside those operations. Detective Tony Godwin leads the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in North Texas and has worked nearly 7,000 cases over a 30-year career. Detective Godwin joins us now. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
I am great. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
So your team investigates crimes that start online but can have real consequences. What does a typical case look like from the first digital clue to the moment someone is arrested?
I mean, it really evolves rapidly. That's the one thing that I think the audience is going to notice, how quickly things happen and how quickly things escalate. But from the moment we put ourselves in this situation in an undercover capacity and the elements of the crime are met, which doesn't take long at all, like it's so fast and so quick, then it takes me and my entire team to put together all the steps necessary, legal process, and put all the affirmative links back together to figure out where this person is, who this person is, and then get ready for a takedown and hopefully a good arrest.
In the series, we see undercover operations where investigators pose as minors online, what goes into building those cases, and making sure the evidence holds up in court.
I mean, people need to remember that everything that we do in an undercover capacity is based on what we know has happened to a real child. Unfortunately, children are exploited every single day online, and as a result, those reports get made and sent to us, and those are called reactive cases. So we know where they go, we know how they're talking, we know what they're doing, and we know what's happening to them. So we base everything we do in the undercover world just like that. We just put ourselves out there. Once it happens, once the communications start, which does not take long at all. And then once those elements go is when we move forward with all the legal process to get things tied together in a nice big bow on top of it, and hopefully ends with a great arrest and a successful prosecution.
And you've worked nearly 7,000 cases during your career. How has the way predators online changed over the years?
Well, we saw a big increase during the COVID time. I will tell you that. We were forcing our children online and into school environments in an online capacity. And so we were just generally pushing everybody online because of our COVID scare and the things that were going around that. And so at the end of the day, it's like a pleasure paradise playground for these predatory types who are already in these platforms and doing what they're doing. And so they had a target-rich environment in front of them. So it has increased. And so also awareness has increased over time, but I'm hopeful it's going to increase even more with the show that's come out on A&E, because we want that intentionality. We want people to know. We want to raise the awareness level of the average person who maybe has some knowledge of this, but doesn't really understand the gravity of what it is. And you're going to see this highlighted in the show. Obviously, it ends with a nice high five moment when we put people in cuffs and we arrest them. And that's a very satisfying, rewarding part of the process.
And for parents that might be watching this at home, what are some of the warning signs that a child might be interacting with someone dangerous online?
Yeah, that's a really good question. First and foremost, I would say pay attention to the behavior changes. You know your child better than anybody. So if you have a child who's an A student that comes down to a C or a D student, then at the end of the day, you know something's going on. Maybe their friend group has changed a little bit. Maybe they're normally very outgoing, but all of a sudden they're really introverted. That could be a red flag that something's going on. Secondly, I would say know how to access your kid's device. Know the passcodes. Know the platforms they go to. Know that some of the platforms have their own passcodes that might be different from the code to get into the phone. Educate yourself about what they're doing and how they're doing it. Being intentional over time, not a one-time deal. This isn't I get to go look one time and then back out of it. If you need to use monitoring software to help with that, then do that. I'm a big proponent of that. But you need to be very intentional. You need to lean in. You need to have constructive, age-appropriate conversations with your kiddo so that at the end of the day, if something does happen, that child's going to come to you or a trusted adult and say, hey, I'm in a pickle, I've done something, or this is what's happened, I need some help. And you already have a path of what's going to happen to get that child back on a good restorative path.
And the show gives viewers a behind-the-scenes look at your task force and the work that you do every day. What do you hope people understand better after watching these investigations play out?
I mean, take into account, there's a little bit of shock and a little bit of awe. Most people are going to notice because after the first show came out last week, my phone almost melted with all these comments and questions about how graphic these predators are and how quickly things escalate. And that is reality. And so I think they're going to take away that, but I think they're also going to have this awareness level that has just increased exponentially. I think they're going to learn from some takeaways that are going to be highlighted on the show, that what they can do and what if something has happened, what if something's already happened. There's a lot of resources that are available to them. And I think they're going to enjoy the entertainment side of it, which is the arrest or the takedown. Those are all really great moments. And I'm really happy to be a part of the program with A&E.
Detective Godwin, I want to thank you for joining me today. You can watch Predator Hunters Thursdays on A&E, and episodes are also available to stream on the A&E app and ANETV.com. Detective Tony Godwin, I really want to thank you for joining us today.
I really appreciate your time. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience. Thank you so much.
A quiet little town, a substitute sheriff, and a bank robbery that turns into something way bigger than anybody expected. You know, that's the setup for Normal, the new neo-Western thriller starring Bob Odenkirk. He joins us to talk about playing Sheriff Ulysses, working with director Ben Wheatley, and why this story keeps taking turns you don't see coming. Welcome to the show, Bob. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Good to see you.
All right. What grabbed you first about Normal? Was it the character, the mystery, or just
it was exactly that. It was the mystery. You know, a lot of action films, they start with the action as quick as possible, and then they just stay in action as much as possible with very little character development or story. But this story that Derek Kolstad told me about a small town in the Midwest, and they have money, and there's no obvious reason why. And then it all explodes, and we learn their secret. I love this story. I love the mystery sequence, which is the first 35 minutes. And then, of course, it's pure action for the rest of the film. I just like the story, the character development, the way in which it's kind of like 3 or 4 films in one. And so I said, let's do that one. Let's try to make that happen. We were very lucky to get Ben Wheatley, a great director who's made many films, Free Fire, High Rise, Kill List, a lot of action films, but he always has character in all of his films, a lot of people that you can relate to. And so he was the perfect man for the job.
And Sheriff Ulysses, it feels like somebody's just trying to keep it together while everybody around him is kind of unraveling. What did you enjoy most about playing that character?
Well, I like playing a guy who's my age. Now, that doesn't sound like much to you, but I was Saul Goodman for, essentially 8 or 9 years. And Saul was younger than me by a lot. He was 10, 15 years younger than me. And I like playing Ulysses in the movie Normal because Ulysses has seen a lot of life and he's a little bit worn down by it. And I related to the guy. I liked him. And I liked his sense of humor. He had a smile. Things made him laugh. And so, I like playing the character.
And this movie has this grounded small town feel, but there's a lot of tension that's just like bubbling underneath the surface.
Yeah.
What was it like building that tone with Ben Wheatley?
That's the part that I worked on the most. And it's one of the reasons I get a story by credit on this film is because I helped build out the story of that small town. Normal is the actual name of a town, Normal, Illinois. And the movie was originally called The Interim, as in interim sheriff, part-time sheriff, or fill-in sheriff. And I said, let's call it Normal, because that's the kind of town. And Derek knew what I was talking about because he's from Wisconsin. That's the kind of town in the Midwest that we want to describe. These small towns they've been hit pretty hard by the economy in the last 40 years. They lost their factory. They have factory farms that have taken over the smaller farms. And I wanted to tell the story of one of those towns that's somehow chanced upon this money.
And once the audience settle into this story, it kind of starts escalating in a lot of unexpected ways. What are you most excited for people to experience when they start to watch it?
Well, it's really a fun movie to watch with a group. If you're going to rent Normal, have some people over, have some friends over. The way in which the story shifts, as you point out, it changes. It's like tectonic plates shifting. The whole vision of what you're looking at becomes a different world. And all those moments where what happens to Henry Winkler and what happens with the champagne cork and what happens after that, those things get the audience going. Those are things to experience with a group. It's been a great, fun film to watch with other people.
All right. I really enjoyed the movie. It was such a blast. I had a fun time with that. Normal is available now on all digital platforms and will be available anywhere you rent movies. Bob, I want to thank you for joining me today, my friend.
Yeah, man. Good to be here. Thanks.
Iron deficiency is one of the most common nutritional problems in kids, but a lot of families may not realize the signs at first. Low iron levels can affect everything from energy and concentration to healthy development. Joining us now is Dr. Gabriella Dauer, a pediatrician and founder of Dauer Pediatrics, to explain what parents should know and when it may be time to talk with a doctor. Welcome, Dr. Dauer.
Thank you so much for having me on this important topic. Thank you.
Of course. So Dr. Dauer, how common is iron deficiency in children?
Yeah, so it's pretty common. I see it, every other day. It's one of the most common nutritional deficiencies in the world. And if you believe it, 1 in 5 of us are working on subpar iron levels. And when you think about low hemoglobin, anemia, about a quarter of the world's population is anemic, and iron deficiency is the most common cause. So when I talk to parents about this, it is out there. It is pretty prevalent.
And what are some signs parents should look for if they think their children may not be getting enough iron?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of kids who are at a little bit higher risk, especially breastfed babies, premature babies, picky eaters, our toddlers who aren't getting it in their diet, pregnant women, menstruating women. So if there's risk factors, I think about the signs and symptoms even more so because they can be silent in kids, especially. So increased fatigue, weakness, headache, dizziness, feeling short of breath, especially being more pale than usual. That's what I think about when I think about iron deficiency anemia.
Okay. And what are some common myths or misunderstandings about iron supplements?
Yes. So I've been hearing a lot of myths as a pediatrician and a mom. And one of the biggest ones that I hear about is that the FDA is actually regulating the supplement market, and it's really not well regulated. So you have to trust the science, not this flashy marketing, because a lot of these iron supplements that are out there on the market, they may be completely ineffective. So what I'm looking for as a pediatrician, clinical trials and external validation. That's what matters. So I always tell parents, talk to your doctor, come talk to us, talk to your pediatrician about the supplements that your kiddo should be taking as well.
Okay. And tell us more about Novoferum and how it works for children who may need additional iron.
Yeah, so Novoferum is something that we take in my house. My little guy takes it, and it's made for all ages. But for any parent, if you've ever had to give an iron supplement to your kiddo, it can be so difficult because there's GI side effects and it tastes terrible if you've ever tried a regular iron supplement. So what I love about this one is actually it tastes pretty good. They have flavors like chocolate, which my son loves, berry, it's made with monk fruit. So the ingredients are gentler on the tummy. So you're not going to have those GI side effects, the constipation, the bloating. And for me as a mom, as a pediatrician, safety comes first. And this brand is the only pediatric iron supplement on the market that's been clinically proven to work. It's safe, it's effective, it's well tolerated. They have a multi-year clinical trial. So for me, if you have low iron, if you have iron deficiency anemia, this is the supplement that I'm going to be recommending to my families.
That's incredible. And Dr. Dauer, where can viewers go for more information?
Absolutely. So they have a great website with a lot of information on iron deficiency, great resource for parents, novoferum.com. You can find it on their website, on Amazon, and at select pharmacies.
Perfect. Well, Dr. Gabriella Dauer, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Caregiving can already feel overwhelming, and communication challenges can make things even harder for families trying to support a loved one. Whether it's hearing loss, dementia, stroke, or another condition, communication struggles can impact relationships and everyday routines. Linda Rosa-Lugo and Janice Trent are joining us now to talk about the new research from American Speech Language Hearing Association and some resources that may help caregivers feel less alone. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So why is communication such an important part of caregiving?
Well, effective communication is really essential in caregiving because when communication breaks down, everything becomes harder. Daily routines, safety, medical decisions, and emotional connection. So this new poll shows that more than half of caregivers experience communication breakdowns every day. And nearly 8 in 10 say it leaves them emotionally drained. So this isn't such a small issue because it really does affect families deeply.
And what were some of the biggest takeaways from this new caregiver poll?
There have been several takeaways, but I would say that one of the strongest messages from the poll is that communication challenges are constant and they are exhausting. They do take a toll. So 52% of caregivers say communication breaks every day. And nearly half say that they either find themselves repeating or rephrasing what they say most of the time. And interestingly, only a third feel that those strategies actually work. So caregivers highlight that they feel frustrated, sad, and anxious. And they do believe that the people that they care for feel the same way.
And what kinds of challenges are caregivers saying they deal with the most?
Well, I think their sensitivity to the person that they're caring for is such that they sense their discomfort. And in particular, they're concerned about the health and safety implications for the person they're caring for. What's happening? 51% report that they're concerned about their understanding their medical issues going on. Another 40% report that they're concerned that the person they're caring for is able to articulate whether they're sick, whether they're in pain, or any other medical issues. And at the end of the day, about a third of them still say that they get sick, their health becomes in jeopardy over their anxiety and their concern for caring for their individuals that are under their charge. And so all of that creates this umbrella of just frustration. And there's this barrier that they're looking at, this breakdown that they're looking at, and they need some strategies to help them overcome the breakdown, overcome the barrier.
And why can professional support be so important for both caregivers and for the people they care for?
I think that just to minimize the stress and anxiety that you see in the caregivers, it is really very important for them to seek professional help, caregivers. And help does exist and it does work. So audiologists and speech language pathologists, they're trained to support adults with communication, cognition, speech language, and/or hearing challenges. I find it interesting that the poll shows that 60% of caregivers have never worked with one of these professionals, and 84% say that they've heard little or nothing about these services. So having this major awareness gap is really daunting. So it matters because 88% of caregivers who have received services, they have found it to be particularly helpful.
And you had mentioned there's a new resource available for caregivers. What should people know about it?
Yes, so we're very excited about this new public-friendly website from ASH's consumer affiliate. It's www.helpingyoucommunicate.org. And it offers easy to understand information about communication difficulties, insurance coverage, and how to find qualified speech language pathologists and audiologists in your respective area. And what's exciting about it is that it is designed specifically for caregivers and families.
And one more time, my friend, where can people go for more information?
Absolutely. They can visit www.helpingyoucommunicate.org.
Linda, Janice, thank you both so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for
having us.
Memorial Day weekend tends to flip the switch into summer mode pretty quickly. Suddenly, everybody's planning cookouts, looking up recipes, and trying to get their summer routines together all at once. Lifestyle and health expert Meaghan B Murphy joins us now with some ideas to make the holiday weekend feel easy, seasonal, and a little more put together. It's good to have you back on the show, Meaghan. How are you, my friend?
Yay! Thank you for having me.
All right, it says 7 in 10 Americans say Memorial Day feels like the beginning of summer. So what are you seeing people gravitate towards this year when it comes to food and entertaining?
So it's also the kickoff to chaos as far as I'm concerned. As a mother of 3, suddenly we're at soccer tournaments, lacrosse tournaments, we're in the car, we're on the move, and we need meals on the go that the whole family can agree on. And that is Wendy's. My whole family loves the crispy chicken sandwich, and Wendy's has upgraded it. So more bold flavor. There's a new marinade, so it's super, super juicy. You've got your crispy panko-style breading infused with 9 different spices. My kids like to say, the heat hits, Mom. You know, you've got that soft potato bread bun, the rich homemade mayo, and then you've got the pickles for balance. Really, Wendy's is leaning into what matters to them, and that is creating a premium crispy chicken sandwich.
All right, I went last night to Wendy's, and I was considering getting it, but I did get a Baconator. So, but hey,
I like the Frosty. I dip my fries in the Frosty, and I'm so happy.
They have this new brownie Frosty thing too. I'm sorry to go off on it, but I downed that in like 5 minutes, just going at it. I loved it.
My kids love that, but I'm so classic. I just like the chocolate.
It's good. It's good. All right. So there's so many recipes that now come from like TikTok, Instagram, or just random late night scrolling. What's one seasonal idea that you actually think lives up to some of the hype?
So May is also Mediterranean style diet month. So it's a great excuse to sort of lean into this Mediterranean style eating, which is super, super healthy. Look at this recipe. So this is using Genova tuna, which is a wild caught tuna. No additives, no preservatives. It's a pantry staple in my house. It really lets you put a fresh and delicious meal on the table in no time. And if you go to genovaseafood.com, there's plenty of more recipes like this. It's a really great product.
You're also talking about heading into summer feeling your best. What are a few simple upgrades people can make without completely just overhauling their routine?
Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I don't think we all really realize how much being properly hydrated affects not only how we feel, but how we look. We want our skin to be bright and glowing. We have to be hydrated. So here's a couple tips. First of all, for every caffeinated beverage or every cocktail, you want at least 8 ounces of water. And if you're like me and it's hard to get that water down, make it a sipping experience. Maybe put it in a wine glass, add a little mint, a little splash of lemon, but have it in that wine glass so it's more of a sipping experience and will help you stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated is the way to go for summer. I like it. Okay, where can people go for more information, Meaghan?
You can go to meaghanbmurphy.com.
And we all say yay for Meaghan B Murphy.
Yay!
Thanks for being here, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of people dealing with anxiety or depression say finding the right treatment can feel exhausting, especially when medications don't work the way that they had hoped. Now, there's more discussion around personalized mental health care and whether genetic insights may help patients and doctors make more informed choices together. Dr. Crystal Nelson is joining us to explain what that could look like and why these conversations are becoming more common. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you so much for having me.
So why are more patients asking for mental health treatment that feels more personalized?
Well, mental health care is highly individualized. What we know works for one person just simply may not work the same for another person, yet patients are feeling like their mental health care treatment is one size fits all. In 2026, the GeneSight Mental Health Monitor survey showed us that 88% of patients who were treated for depression and or anxiety felt that they would feel more confident in their mental health care if it were more personalized. So we know that personalization really matters when we're talking about side effects, symptoms, treatment responses, that this can vary significantly so much from person to person. So if we can begin to customize and tailor this treatment approach, we can have more informed conversations and hopefully overall better treatment experiences.
And how can tools like the GeneSight test help perform treatment decisions for patients and providers?
Yeah, currently for some people, this trial and error process of finding the right medication can be very frustrating. In that survey, about 13% of people that previously were treated for depression and or anxiety said that only 13% of the time the first medication worked. So a simple test like GeneSight, which is a cheek swab test that can be ordered in the office, can give a clinician information about how the patient's genes might actually impact the medication outcomes, creating a much more personalized approach to mental health care.
And what should someone do if they feel like their current treatment plan isn't helping them the way that it should?
Well, hopefully patients would always feel empowered to be able to talk to their clinician if their current treatment plan is not working. But if someone is hesitant and needs more resources, they could talk to their clinician and just simply ask for the GeneSight test if that is appropriate. They could also go to GeneSight.com and get a clinician discussion guide that could help with making that conversation just a little bit easier.
And where can people go for more resources and information?
So they could, of course, just start with their healthcare provider, their primary care healthcare provider, or their mental health care provider. But if not, they can always go to GeneSight.com to get information.
Dr. Crystal Nelson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for waking up with us right here on Wake Up Wichita. We'll see you next time with more fun, more local stories, and everything you need to start your day on a good note. If you can't wait till next week, I know I can't. Be sure to follow us on social media or YouTube. Until next time, that was a show we like to call Wake Up Wichita.